Have you ever stopped to think that that essential item in your kitchen, which seems so harmless, might be hiding an invisible danger? We're talking about the dishcloth, an object found in practically every home, but one that rarely gets the attention it deserves when it comes to hygiene. It's your ally when drying dishes, cleaning countertops, and even wiping your hands. But what if this ally was, in fact, sabotaging your family's health? Get ready to uncover the dark secrets of dishcloths and discover why they can be a real breeding ground for bacteria in your kitchen. In this video, you'll learn to identify the 7 warning signs that indicate your dishcloth has become a silent threat. Stay with us until the end to protect your home and your health. Chapter 1. The danger of the multitasking cloth. Often, without realizing it, we turn our dishcloth into a true kitchen multi-tool. It starts by drying dishes we've just washed, then moves on to wet hands after a quick rinse. And then, without hesitation, it's used to wipe up that small sauce stain on the countertop. This versatility, however, is the first major mistake. Each of these surfaces has different microorganisms, and by using the same cloth, we are simply transporting them from one place to another, creating a complete bacterial ecosystem. Imagine you're drying a clean plate, and right after, you use the same cloth to wipe your hands that just touched raw meat. Automatically, the bacteria present in the meat are transferred to the cloth and, subsequently, to the plate you considered clean. This vicious cycle of cross-contamination is alarming. The kitchen, which should be a sanctuary for food preparation, becomes a stage for the proliferation of these unwanted agents. It's crucial to understand that each task requires an appropriate tool, and the dishcloth is no exception. The idea of convenience of having a single item for multiple functions ends up backfiring when it comes to hygiene. Bacteria don't care about your convenience. They take advantage of every opportunity to multiply. When wiping a dirty surface, the cloth absorbs not only moisture, but also the microorganisms present there. When that same cloth is used on a clean surface, it deposits these contaminants, invisible to the naked eye, but potentially dangerous to your health and your family's. Moisture is a crucial factor for bacterial survival and proliferation. A damp dishcloth, after being used for different tasks, becomes the perfect environment for these microorganisms. They find the necessary food and ideal moisture in the cloth to reproduce rapidly. What was once a simple piece of fabric quickly transforms into a true colony of bacteria, ready to spread throughout the kitchen and onto the food that will be consumed. The solution to this problem is simpler than it seems. Assign specific functions to your dishcloths. Have one cloth exclusively for drying dishes, another for drying hands, and, if possible, a third for cleaning surfaces. This separation, however trivial it may seem, is a giant step in preventing cross-contamination and maintaining a truly clean and safe kitchen. Remember, hygiene starts in the small details, and the correct use of the dishcloth is fundamental. Chapter 2. The Telltale Smell. Have you ever picked up a dishcloth that, even after being washed, still had that strange odor, a sour or musty smell? This unpleasant aroma is not just an annoyance to your sense of smell, it's a strong indicator that your dishcloth has turned into a true breeding ground for bacteria. The smell is, in fact, a byproduct of the metabolism of these microorganisms, which feed on food residues and moisture, releasing volatile compounds that cause the characteristic odor. Many times, we believe that a simple wash in the washing machine is enough to eliminate all impurities and odors from cloths. However, if the cloth still smells bad, it means that bacteria and their residues have not been completely removed. This can happen due to water temperature, the type of soap, or the lack of an effective disinfectant. The problem is that by persisting in the fabric, these bacteria continue to multiply, making the cloth a continuous threat. Think of the dishcloth as a miniature ecosystem. When it's damp and has food residues, a perfect environment for bacterial proliferation is created. Bacteria feed on food scraps and, as a result of their vital process, release gases that cause the bad smell. This odor is a clear sign that the bacterial load in the fabric is high and that the cloth, instead of cleaning, may be contaminating your kitchen's surfaces and dishes. The presence of an unpleasant smell also indicates that the cloth is not drying properly between uses or that it is being stored improperly. Prolonged dampness is an invitation for mold and other bacteria that contribute to the bad smell to grow. If the cloth doesn't dry completely, the residual moisture becomes a fertile ground for these microorganisms, which continue to reproduce and release the compounds responsible for the odor, even after washing. To combat this problem, it's essential to adopt more rigorous washing practices. Wash your dishcloths with hot water, using a good soap and, if possible, an oxygen-based bleach or white vinegar for disinfection. After washing, make sure the cloth dries completely before storing it. Hanging it in an airy and well-ventilated place is fundamental to prevent bacterial proliferation and eliminate the bad smell once and for all, ensuring a truly clean and safe cloth. Chapter 3: The Danger of Dampness and Piling. A common mistake, which contributes significantly to the terror of dishcloths, is leaving them damp and crumpled on the sink or stove after use. This practice, which seems harmless due to the rush of daily life, is, in fact, an open invitation for the proliferation of bacteria and fungi. Dampness and lack of ventilation create the perfect environment for these microorganisms to multiply at an impressive rate, turning your dishcloth into a hotbed of contamination. Think for a moment. When you pile up a wet dishcloth, the fabric fibers stick together, preventing air circulation. Without ventilation, the water doesn't evaporate, and the cloth remains damp for a long time. This persistent moisture is exactly what bacteria and fungi need to grow and reproduce. It's as if you're creating a small, cozy habitat for them, right there in your kitchen. In addition to bacteria, prolonged dampness also favors the growth of mold. Those dark or greenish stains that appear on the cloth are not just aesthetically unpleasing. They indicate the presence of fungi that can release spores into the air. Inhaling these spores can cause respiratory problems and allergies, especially in more sensitive individuals. Therefore, a crumpled cloth is a risk not only for kitchen hygiene, but also for health. The unpleasant smell we mentioned in the previous chapter is directly related to this practice. When bacteria and fungi proliferate in a damp, enclosed environment, they release volatile compounds that result in that characteristic musty or sour odor. This smell is a clear sign that the microbial load on the cloth is high, and that it's not clean no matter how many times you've used it. The solution to avoid this trap is simple. Always hang your dishcloth to dry completely after use. Have hooks or a small drying rack in the kitchen to hang it, so that air can circulate freely through all its parts. If the cloth is very wet, wring it out thoroughly before hanging. This small change in habit will make a huge difference in the hygiene and safety of your kitchen, ensuring that your dishcloth is an ally, not an invisible enemy. Chapter 4: The Frequency of Changing. One of the most crucial and frequently overlooked mistakes is the lack of daily, or even more than once a day, changing of dishcloths. Many people extend the use of the same cloth for days on end, believing that it is still clean because it shows no visible dirt. However, this is a false sense of security. Even if there are no apparent stains, the dishcloth accumulates an astonishing amount of bacteria with each use, rapidly transforming into an invisible danger to your kitchen and your family's health. Imagine the scenario. You use the cloth to dry breakfast dishes, then wipe a small area of the countertop after lunch, and at night, it's still there waiting to dry dinner plates. During all these hours, the moisture and microscopic food residues that the cloth absorbed become a feast for bacteria. They multiply exponentially, transforming a simple piece of fabric into a dense bacterial colony, ready to contaminate everything it touches. The speed at which microorganisms proliferate on a dishcloth is alarming. In just a few hours, a small amount of bacteria can turn into millions. Every time you use the cloth, these bacteria are transferred to clean surfaces, to dishes, and even to your hands. This means that instead of cleaning and disinfecting, you are spreading contamination throughout your kitchen, even without realizing the danger hidden in plain sight. The frequency of changing should be determined by the intensity of use. In a low-traffic home, changing the dishcloth daily may be sufficient. However, in high-activity kitchens, where the cloth is constantly used for various tasks, it's essential to change it several times a day. Common sense is key. If the cloth looks dirty, smells bad, or has been used to clean something potentially contaminated, like raw meat, it should be changed immediately without hesitation. To ensure the hygiene and safety of your kitchen, establish a strict routine for changing dishcloths. Always have clean, dry cloths available. Consider having a specific basket or container for used cloths, making collection easier for washing. This simple yet effective practice is a fundamental pillar in preventing bacterial contamination and maintaining a truly safe food preparation environment for you and your family. Your kitchen's health will thank you for paying attention to these details. Chapter 5. Ineffective washing. Washing dishcloths seems like a simple task, but how we do it can be crucial for its effectiveness. Many people wash their cloths with cold water and without using an adequate disinfectant, believing that the washing machine alone will do all the work. However, this practice, as common as it may be, is one of the main reasons why dishcloths become a breeding ground for bacteria. Cold water, often, is not enough to eliminate the microbial load present in the fabric. Water temperature plays a crucial role in eliminating bacteria. Cold water, by itself, may not be able to break down the cell walls of certain microorganisms or efficiently remove organic residues that serve as food for them. Ideally, dishcloths should be washed with hot water, above 60 degrees Celsius, 140 degrees Fahrenheit, to ensure the death of most bacteria and viruses. This temperature helps to disinfect the fabric, eliminating germs that could resist a milder wash. In addition to temperature, the type of product used in washing is also fundamental. A common laundry soap can clean visible dirt, but it doesn't necessarily disinfect the cloth. To combat bacteria, it's important to incorporate a disinfectant agent into your washing routine. Products like chlorine-based bleach in appropriate dilution and for compatible fabrics, or oxygen-based bleach are excellent options to ensure that the cloths come out of the machine truly clean and free of microorganisms. White vinegar and baking soda are also powerful allies in disinfecting and removing odors from dishcloths. Adding half a cup of white vinegar to the rinse cycle or a tablespoon of baking soda along with the soap can make a big difference. These natural products have antimicrobial and deodorizing properties, helping to eliminate remaining bacteria and that unpleasant smell that insists on lingering even after washing. For effective cleaning, separate dishcloths from other laundry in the washing machine. This prevents cross-contamination with other items and ensures that the cloths receive the most intense washing treatment. Wash them with hot water and an appropriate disinfectant. After washing, dry them completely in the sun or in a high-temperature dryer, as the additional heat contributes to the elimination of any remaining bacteria. Correct washing is your best defense against the terror of dishcloths. Chapter 6. The disguised floor rag. It's surprising how often the dishcloth, which should be a hygiene item in the kitchen, ends up being used to clean spills on the floor. This practice, seemingly harmless and even economical, is one of the biggest vectors of cross-contamination you can introduce into your home. The floor is one of the dirtiest surfaces in the house, full of bacteria, viruses, fungal spores, and a myriad of other microorganisms that are dragged in by shoes, pets, and the air itself. By using the dishcloth to clean a puddle of water or a food spill on the floor, you are literally collecting all that microbial load and transferring it to the fabric. And the worst part, if that same cloth is later used to dry dishes, wipe hands, or clean countertops, you are spreading these germs throughout the kitchen, creating a significant risk of contamination for food and for the health of everyone in the house. Think about the types of microorganisms that reside on the floor. Bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella, which can cause severe gastrointestinal illnesses, as well as viruses and fungal spores that can trigger allergies and respiratory problems. All these pathogens are microscopically invisible but dangerously present. When you use the dishcloth for the floor, you're not just absorbing dirt, you're absorbing a cocktail of potential disease-causing agents. The excuse that the cloth will be washed later doesn't minimize the risk. During the time the dirty cloth is in the kitchen, bacteria may already be proliferating and spreading through the air, through contact with other surfaces, or even through hands. The risk of contamination is immediate, and the health consequences can be serious. It's a false sense of cleanliness that can come at a high cost. The solution to this problem is simple and categorical. Never, under any circumstances, use the dishcloth to clean the floor. Have specific cloths for floor cleaning, in different colors or with clear identification to avoid confusion. Keep these floor cloths in a separate location and wash them independently of dishcloths and other kitchen items. This separation is a fundamental barrier in preventing cross-contamination and maintaining a truly safe and hygienic home environment. Chapter 7. Stubborn Stains. One of the most visible and concerning signs that your dishcloth has become a breeding ground for bacteria is the presence of persistent food stains that, no matter how much you wash, simply won't come out. These stains are not just an aesthetic problem. They are, in fact, an indication that there are organic residues embedded in the fabric fibers. And where there are organic residues, there is ample food for bacteria, fungi, and other microorganisms to thrive, even after an attempted wash. Think of stains from tomato sauce, coffee, oil, or grease. These substances are sticky and adhere deeply to the cloth's fibers. If the washing is ineffective, whether due to cold water, inadequate soap, or the lack of a disinfectant, these residues remain. Over time, they become even more fixed, making removal increasingly difficult. And the worst part, each of these food particles is an invitation for microbial proliferation. Bacteria, in their search for food and moisture, form biofilms on the fabric fibers. A biofilm is a community of microorganisms that adheres to a surface and encases itself in a protective matrix. This matrix makes the bacteria more resistant to washing and disinfectants. Therefore, when you see a stain that won't come out, it's likely that it's protecting an entire colony of bacteria that are developing there, invisible to your eyes. In addition to bacteria, persistent stains can also indicate the presence of fungi, such as mold. Mold feeds on organic matter and moisture, and the dark stains it causes are difficult to remove. The presence of fungi on the dishcloth is concerning, as their spores can spread through the air and cause respiratory problems or allergies. Therefore, a stain that won't come out is a warning sign for the air quality in your kitchen. When a dishcloth reaches this stage, where stains become permanent and resistant to washing, it's a strong indication that it has already completed its life cycle. Continuing to use it is an unnecessary risk to your kitchen's hygiene. The best course of action in this case is to discard the stained dishcloth and invest in new ones. Remember that prevention is key. Wash cloths immediately after use and use proper washing techniques to prevent stains from setting and becoming a haven for unwanted germs. Conclusion. We've reached the end of our journey through the invisible dangers hidden in an item as common as the dishcloth. We hope that, with the 7 signs we've presented, you'll be able to identify when it's time to pay more attention to the hygiene of this essential item in your kitchen. Remember that your family's health starts in the kitchen, and small habits can make a big difference in preventing diseases caused by bacteria and other microorganisms. Don't underestimate the power of a poorly maintained dishcloth. By adopting these tips and changing the way you handle them, you'll be protecting your home and ensuring a safer environment for everyone. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming content on health and wellness. Your participation is very important to us,